What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, back once again with another video. Morning after the game before. Burnley 0, West Ham 0. Tough game to watch, really. It was a lot of nothing. Boys travelled up there. It's a tough place to go without that. But listen, the thing is, you got to put it into perspective. I don't want to hear any like moaning, and that's something coming from me. You know what I mean? I'm the most miserable bastard in the world at times. But if I'd have told you last week, if we'd have gone into before we went into the Chelsea game, that we was going to get 4 points out of Chelsea and Burnley, and I'm not going to tell you the order, you'd have took that. You know what I mean? We're not pushing from these big results, which you know, we're overachieving anyway, to be quite honest with you. Defence done brilliantly, and you got to remember this as well. Over the last, I think maybe even 3 weeks ago, our whole back four, Johnson, Cresswell, Zuma, Ogbonna, are all out now. We've got a completely different back four. We still haven't got, you know, the creativity, and we struggle against teams like Burnley, and that's the crux of it. And what we've got to do is we've got to sort that out come January. You know, we've had a good run. We're overachieving, as I say. But these games are not easy. You know, people are talking about Burnley like you've got a divine right to go there and win. They're a tough team. They might be in the bottom three, and they might have only won once all year, but they're a tough team to go to. Like, we haven't had a good record against Burnley. I think all the times I've been up there, I think we've only won once. So they're a tough team. They're a hard team to break down, and that's where we're struggling against teams that play a low block. That, you know, defence dealt with what they had brilliantly yesterday. I was worried about Diop with Chris Wood. He struggles against big players, but you know, you're always going to get that. And the turning point of the game for me, apart from the fact that, look, I'm not going to sit there blaming referees and all that for the reasons we didn't win the game, because we could have quite easily scored a goal. But you know, we caught the goalkeeper in good form, and then on another day one of them go in. But it's the penalty decision. Like, I've watched it back. I said it at the time. I was lucky enough to be watching it on the telly. It's a stonewall penalty. Like, it's a stone, and I'm going against, like, Ryan doesn't think it's a penalty, and this is the good thing about football, I suppose. It's a game of opinions. But look at what Man City, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Chelsea all got awarded what I would call soft penalties. I think United's one was probably a penalty. Chelsea's second one was very similar to that, to our one. But Liverpool's and Man City's were not penalties at all. And regardless of, you know, the position of the ball and all of that sort of thing, he's hacked at something, and he's caught Dawson and knocked Dawson clean out. You know, you don't know what would have happened. People saying, oh, he's not in control of the ball and all that. He could have kept that ball in. The ball was there to be kept in. He's trying to get his leg there to keep it in. But he's hacked at him, and he's hacked him down. If it had been any of them big six, as they call them, the snidey six, as I call them, the penalty would have been given. I've got no doubt about it. I think Dommy's right. The league is corrupt. They, like Scudamore a couple of years ago, you know, when Leicester won the league, says if Man United don't get the Champions League, it's a disaster. It's a disaster commercially for them. It's a disaster for exposure. Lower teams get down and they lose ratings, which you know, they could get a Champions League place taken off of them. They don't want that. They want the big ones, the big boys in the competitions. It's not competition if you know, you're basically picking who you want to win, and the winners and losers. It is corrupt. VAR, fuck knows what they was doing. You know, how they can look at that several times and decide it's not a penalty, but look at Man City several times and decide it is a penalty. Something's going on, man. Like people were saying, adjustment week and all of that sort of thing. Look, I'm not going to sit here and make accusations. I don't want a lawsuit on my head, but week in, week out, I see these things happening, and you've got to start to question why they're happening. In my opinion, that's my opinion anyway. But you know, in terms of you know, having a divine right to, you know, getting on Mickey Antonio's back's not going to do anyone any favours. It's not going to do anyone any favours at all. He's the only one we've got. That's our fault. That's West Ham. That's the club's fault. Not Mickey Antonio's fault. He was always going to go get, drop form. He's got, he does. He's doing everything on his own. We're lucky he ain't gone down with an injury yet. We've got no one else to play in his position. As I say, we've got hard workers. We've got no plan B. And when we play teams against, teams like Burnley, we struggle to break them down. That's why we need a Lingard in there to open up defences and, take these things on themselves. Saïd Benrahma, I'm sorry, but he just isn't doing it for me at the moment. And that's not a neck against Saïd Benrahma, because I think he's doing what Moyes is asking him to do. And no player goes out to have a bad game, but he's just not doing it for me. Lanzini played yesterday. I thought he played well. I thought we've done all right. But we need to get to January and pick up enough points between now and January to make sure we're still in that position, and we can, we've got a chance at least to address some of these issues. But I'm not going to knock the boys for a draw at Burnley. Burnley's a tough place to go to. Tough. But pick up a win against Arsenal on Saturday, Wednesday, which we're capable of. Pick up a win against Norwich and it'll all be forgotten again. It'll all be forgotten. But let's get to January. We're overachieving this season. Don't start whinging about not picking up points, picking up a point at Burnley. Like, I remember when we was whinging at getting battered at Burnley, like 3-4-0, and at home. Don't whinge about a point at Burnley, especially when we've just picked up 3 against Chelsea. It's frustrating because you can start to sort of get a little bit of distance between yourself, and we've got people up our arse, but it is what it is. We've still got them teams to play, and we're in control of our own destiny. The only people that have got games in hand is Tottenham, and I'd rather have points on the board than games in hand. So don't start whinging about that. Get behind the boys. Get behind on Wednesday. If we win Wednesday, all is forgiven. But fuck the Premier League. It's getting on my wick, to be honest with you. What's the point of VAR if they're not going to use it right? But anyway, thank you very much. One thing left to say. Come on, your hands.